Welcome to Nerdvana Podcast, and today's movie review is RoboCop 2. Surprise, surprise, a sequel that is shit.
Hey, bad language makes for bad feeling.
And a bad movie makes for a bad bowel movement.
Yep, like this movie, that's about the level of creativity that went into it.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that there was at least some attempts behind the scenes into trying to make this a good one. I mean, they got Frank Miller to write a screenplay. But apparently even his concepts were a little too over the top, too over the top for them. RoboCop 2. It is the 1990 sequel to the 80s classic RoboCop. Instead of directed by Paul Verhoeven, is directed by Irvin Kershner, fans will actually know his name because he directed Empire Strikes Back, which is actually considered one of the best Star Wars sequels.
What happened?
I blame the studios.
Yeah, to be honest, it really sounds like Alien 3 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, what's the summary of this movie, I guess we can call it? I really don't want to rat on it too bad because I can't enjoy it, but what's the summary?
Well, the summary is that there's just so much going on. I think the main storyline is that there is a new drug craze running around the streets of old Detroit. The cops, most of them are actually on strike because OCP, the mega conglomeration, cut their salaries. And while at the same time, OCP is planning a very hostile takeover of the entire city of Detroit, so that it can build its new Delta City, while also expanding the RoboCop program with its new model. And I think that's kind of just in that whole entire summary. I mean, it just feels like, did we really need that much?
No, I mean, now, let's look at it. It's the late 80s, early 90s. This movie is it's a product of its time.
It's topical.
Mm-hmm. It came out same year, or very close to Alien 3, so I see a lot of similarities. It's sticking with that whole, anti-drug thing going on, except it was pushed really hard back then.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, there's too much many plot points or story threads in this that that it just bogs down. Not to say that the movie is bad. I mean, it's okay, but I don't think it just doesn't have that same, you know, that feeling that the previous RoboCop movie gave us.
To be honest, I don't think it had as much fun.
No, it tried to.
It did, I'll give it that. It did. But, I mean, you could tell that everyone in the first movie, even in the actual film, not even going to the making from scene, they were having fun making it. In this, it kind of fell flat. I mean, and I don't mean that in like a mean way, but it did sort of stumble a bit.
Yeah. I mean, the first few minutes, the first 30 minutes actually did feel like a RoboCop movie, or like, you know, you see a guy, breaking into someone's car, and you're thinking like, oh, bet RoboCop's gonna come in, and then all of a sudden the car shocks him into submission, and it turns out it's an ad. It's a car ad.
The latest in automobile security. And
that's pretty funny. Then, of course, we get exposition in the form of news about what the hell's going on. You know, police are on strike, and crime is now overwhelming the streets of Detroit. And the only one that's doing anything is RoboCop. And he busts a drug. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what you would call a drug den, a drug lab. Yes, thank you for this for the new narcotic nuke. And all goes fairly well until he comes across a kid with a gun. Which this actor kind of gives me a Children of the Corn vibe, that cult leader. So pretty good acting on that kid's part. And
if you haven't seen that, but you have read a book, Lord of the Flies, ring a bell?
Oh, I know. I haven't read the book or seen any movie, but I know about Lord of the Flies. Yeah,
so I get that vibe, because I had to read that in English class, so...
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, this kid, let's talk about this. This adds an interesting facet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How so?
Because this kid is basically number 2 in charge. We don't know much about him, which I feel like they could have expanded on.
Mm-hmm.
But... he's number 2 in a crime ring.
Mm-hmm.
Supplying an illegal narcotic.
Yes.
And it would be very easy for Murphy to take this kid out.
Yes.
He's a pipsqueak.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't even need the gun.
No. Just pick him up by his collar.
If he can grab a hold of him, I mean, he
is slippery.
Oh yeah, and also Murphy. I mean, he can't run in that robo suit. He still has to do the Mr. Roboto walking.
Yeah, but this adds a facet. If depending on the age of the convict, Murphy can't do anything. Lethal, I mean.
Okay. And so it's actually with an altercation when, where it seems that shooting a kid kind of goes against, I don't know, any of his prime directives, or just against Murphy's moral code himself, but the kid gets the jump on him, and that's when all these memories of his son, flash through his memory banks, and so on, and then after that, it kind of cuts to a scene of Mrs. Murphy, in her life in the suburbs with her son, and apparently Alex has been driving down there day after day, just passing by. All that in the first 30 minutes, which I actually felt like a smidgen of the original RoboCop was still there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that the first movie touched on a bit, but it didn't go into that much. I appreciate this look into it. Now, this is something that I think that the remake of the original did well. It showed the family dynamic, but we've already said our piece on that.
Mm-hmm. But the thing about that is that it's just there and then doesn't come up at all in the story again.
Yeah, that irks me. That rubs me the wrong way, because that would be a very good story.
And I think that's the problem that most critics and even fans had with this movie, is that there's too much. There's too much in this movie. I mean, if you had stuck with if the movie had just stuck with the whole the Nuke storyline, the RoboCop 2 storyline, along with with Alex, again focusing more on that dynamic of the difference between man and machine. Is the man in the suit RoboCop, or is it still Alex Murphy? And that it would have this probably would have been a very good sequel.
Yeah, not as good as the original still, but that would have been a lot better. Mm-hmm. I feel like they brought it up a little bit towards the end, where Bob gets murdered along with everyone else in that meeting. But to be honest, that just fell flat on its face. It could have been beautiful. It could have been either the anti-drug story, which, okay, fine, 90s, I get it. But it also could have been not exactly a family movie, but a story about family. Mm-hmm. And
hell, with the idea, with the whole antagonist being a religious cult, and sometimes cults do like to emphasize family. This would have been perfect.
Yeah. But the way they did it, they just had it in there for a little bit and dropped it.
Yeah. Now even though this movie is kind of been brushed under the rug along with the second sequel, it did actually get a little bit more attention in 2013 because of how the events in the movie actually began to bleed into real life. Apparently a major plot point is that the city of Detroit is bankrupt, and if the mayor can't pay off OCP their loans or their debt, OCP gets the city. In 2013, Detroit actually did file for bankruptcy. So 23 years later, life imitated art, and that was when that RoboCop 2 suddenly got a little bit more attention.
Yeah, I have to chuckle at that. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because It's warning us about what would happen, and then the warning happened.
Yeah. It's always so amazing of it's amazing what these artists can actually just think of, and then somewhere down the line, then it just happens in reality. It's almost like they are predicting the future, and they're not even trying.
Yeah, they're just trying to tell a story, and then the story partially comes true.
Mm-hmm.
No, all we need is a robotic cop, and we're all set.
Yeah.
Which we're getting close to anyway, but that's discussion for another day. So, let's see. What topic are we going on to next? Characters,
I don't know. I honestly, don't even really have a set plan or outline for this. I just kind of enjoyed this.
Just the discussion.
Just the discussion, this chatting.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you like? What were some parts of the movie that you liked about it? Like, either made you laugh or you thought, now that's clever.
I did enjoy once Murphy regained I did enjoy the reprogramming. That was just funny.
Yes, I like that one too.
We need to go into this more. Let's expand on this. We'll just pick a topic and run with it for a bit.
Okay. Okay. So OCP decides to expand RoboCop's directives after he's been disassembled violently. And so they decide. This female villain, Fax, I think her name is.
Faxx.
Yeah. Decides to ask the tried and true method of focus groups.
We've been through this before with Jurassic World and the Indominus Rex.
Uh-huh. Let's see. This is a cop that has 3 rules to live by in order to do his job. What do these focus groups think he should do? Yes, Ian.
Make him more family friendly. Am I wrong?
How about? I'm surprised you didn't go to environmental issues. He's a cop. He has to do his job in a war-torn street the war-torn streets of Detroit.
No, he's too violent. He's too violent. All that shooting. He doesn't visit an orphanage.
He doesn't.
He's a freaking cop.
And I like that one character, that Glasses character from the first movie.
Yeah, I like him.
He just gives a sarcastic remark, or roasting marshmallows with Cub Scouts. Even though that's meant to be sarcastic, Fax just turns it on him and actually makes it a thing.
I know everyone can't see me right now, but I'm face palming.
Yes, he is. Big time. Oh.
Okay, I'm looking at Wikipedia here. There's 300 new directives, according to Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, God, IMDb lists a number of them too. Let's see.
Are some listed?
Yes.
Read them so we can react to each one with face palms.
Restrain hostile feelings. Promote positive attitude. Suppress aggressiveness. I'm feeling you right there. It's not working for me either. Promote pro-social values. Avoid destructive behavior. Be accessible. What do you want? What do you want him to walk around with a lug wrench? Participate in group activities.
Well, there's the marshmallows.
Yes. Avoid interpersonal conflicts.
He's a freaking cop! That's his job!
That's the
to intervene!
Avoid premature value judgments. Again, that's the job. Cops have to react quick. They have to make a judgment call. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but a second hesitation could mean the difference. Pool opinions before expressing yourself.
What?
Discourage feelings of negativity and hostility. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't talk.
I'm struggling with that one.
Don't rush traffic lights.
The speed limit is 35.
Don't run through puddles and splash pedestrians or other cars.
What the hell?
I don't know what I'm more shocked about, that they put this in they decided to program this as part of his directives, or someone actually brought this up.
You know, I was walking along the sidewalk and I got splashed by a police car.
It completely ruined my hoagie.
I'm first palming again!
Don't say that you are always prompt when you are not. Don't be oversensitive to the hostility and negativity of others.
Now what? Oh no, John's laughing.
Oh my god! I haven't laughed this hard since that religious recording. Oh my god. Don't walk across a ballroom floor swinging your arms.
Is RoboCop going to a ball?
Well, there's the policeman's ball. But I think that's more like
robotics?
I don't know. And also,
who would he go with? Lewis? Maybe.
Yeah, and also, have you not seen him walk? He's supposed to do that. And also, you can't walk without swinging your arms. It's a natural momentous movement.
That's how humans walk.
Mm-hmm.
Crying out loud.
Encourage awareness.
Of what?
I don't know, just, it's a very broad term. Okay. Discourage harsh language.
Fuck you.
Commend sincere efforts.
There's no sincere effort.
No. Talk things out.
Define things. People?
Conflicts. You know, that of all kinds. Here's a little tongue-in-cheek. Avoid Orion meetings. Orion is the production company of this.
Yeah, that's funny. I like that one. If that's on screen, I'm...
Yes. Directive 266. Smile.
No. This is not a happy smile. This is a very uncomfortable smile you're seeing me do right now, John.
Yes, it is. It's very uncomfortable. Keep an open mind.
Okay.
Encourage participation.
In what?
Anything? Non-profit organizations, charity drives, parent-teacher, PTA meetings. I don't know. It just says encourage participation.
Okay, considering his job, he should be advocating for non-participation in crime. You're using too broad terms there, OCP.
I think that's the point.
Exactly. And it's annoying. How stupid are these characters?
Well, honestly, that's kind of brilliant. But I have like two more directives.
Oh boy.
Avoid stereotyping.
He's a robot.
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe in today's age that's not a bad directive, but needs it again still broad.
Yeah.
And last one that's listed: seek non-violent solutions.
If someone is killing a baby, you do not seek a non-violent situation. You murder the dude.
Yeah, remember that councilman from movie 1? The one that or whatever he was.
What's his
the
name?
one that lost the re-election and wanted a recount, and no matter what the outcome, he still wanted his old job back. Remember, he wanted a car that goes really fast and gets shitty gas mileage?
Yes, the SUX.
Yes. The sucks. Yeah, if he tried to find a non-violent solution, there would be at least 3 dead bodies.
Yeah.
All right, so now the directives are. This was the reason for these directives and why they're so broad is, of course, so that RoboCop can't do his job, so that OCP can continue on with their RoboCop 2 program. Trying to think that maybe, oh, he's an outdated model. Look, he's malfunctioning.
Fuck you!
Bad language makes
I don't
for bad
care.
feeling. Okay. But honestly, yeah, that was actually my favorite section of the movie because it was brilliant in how when you try to have these broad yet restraining terms that you want either machines or people to do, the job doesn't get done. There are no results.
The moral of the story is detail. But that's one of my favorite sequences because it's just so damn funny.
It's so damn funny, and honestly, it kind of also. It's also a little bit true to life. I remember finding out that when Power Rangers became a thing when it was first down, that parents were worried that all the fighting, all the kicking and punching and the screaming and the sparks, it's just so violent for kids. What if it encourages my kids to fight? Meanwhile, I'm over in my house jumping off couches, kicking fake monsters. And my parents were okay with it because they were able to tell me the difference between fantasy and reality.
And the parents in this movie should have been able to distinguish between slaying, crimes, and police officers. And apparently these focus groups can't do that.
No. They're too focused more on their own agendas rather than what the hell is happening out in the streets.
Yeah, they're in their posh apartment, sipping a margarita. Meanwhile, people are being murdered and robbed.
Mm-hmm. My other favorite sequence is actually again from the beginning. On the streets at night, is that an old lady actually almost gets run over. She has a shopping cart of cans. I honestly thought, oh, I remember this. This is where the old lady actually brings out a shotgun, or like a Thompson. And no, that didn't happen. And I thought, oh, I must be thinking of Batman Forever. But how funny would that be if it? But how funny would that been if it actually wasn't an old lady? It was really a Batman cartoon villain.
That would set the tone for this movie quite well.
Yes. All right, but she's knocked down. Her cans go all over, and then a good Samaritan apparently comes up, asks if she's all right, and then jacks her purse, takes the money and her jewelry. He's walking around, walking on Easy Street, then tripped by some prostitutes, and the stuff he stole gets stolen. And
he got the shit beat out of him hard.
One of those prostitutes actually stepped on his face or his throat with their heels, and I thought, oh my god, if those stilettos were actually any pointier, he could actually puncture the jugular. Could actually kill him.
Yeah, he got stomped on with stilettos, he got kicked in the gonads, stomped on the face.
And while that was happening, all I was thinking about was, hey, you can't take that, I stole that stuff fair and square. Honestly, it was pretty funny, and does establish how bad Detroit is that people are stealing stuff that was stolen from others. A never-ending chain of theft.
Do you know if I know you said that your father and his family got out before the infamous riots happened, but are you aware of this sort of thing happening in the aftermath of said riot, or is it just
this? I believe it's the crime is the results of the riots. Yes.
Okay. And this is just alternate near future where nothing got better.
Right.
And we have advanced technology.
Mm-hmm. That one's pretty cool. And I like the bad guys that were trying to rob the gun store.
Where's the bullets for this gun, man?
I honestly thought, what? Okay, at first when I saw that, I thought, you blew up a gun store and then you blew up the store and then tried to rob it. How, are you stupid? Did you not see that fire will actually fire off the bullets? Until then, and then looking back, a character says, you were always shitty with the timers. And I thought, oh, they probably were meant to blow that up after they robbed the guns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then RoboCop comes, but they don't know it's RoboCop because he's in a car, and they shoot the car with a missile bazooka, and an RPG or whatever the frack that is.
That's just a rocket launcher.
A rocket launcher. There's someone is selling a rocket launcher in Detroit in this movie.
What the hell?
God, I know times are tough, but god damn.
No. It goes beyond the freaking rocket launcher. It flips the car, then they proceed to turn it into Swiss cheese, and then blow it up again!
When I saw that, I was thinking, like, guys, you're just wasting ammo now.
That's what I was thinking! I mean, whoever's in the car is dead from the shockwave from the first missile.
But I can kind of understand why they would do that, is because that's the only cop that responded. They know that the cops are on strike, so they think that there won't be any more coming. Also, they're kind of lucky that it was RoboCop, because if that was an actual person, and then the next part of the movie happens, they would be arrested for killing a cop.
Ooh.
He's a cop killer.
Let's throw him through some windows. No one will ever beat who was that actor again?
Kurtwood Smith.
Yes, Kurtwood Smith. No one will ever beat him.
No. The actor who plays what's his name?
What's his face?
Kane.
Yeah.
Tom Noonan. He tries. He tries.
Yeah. He did all right. I think he did okay. I think it might have been the writing.
He does sell the whole, he does sell the whole cult leader thing pretty well.
He does, yeah.
As well as playing a drug addict, and someone who's a drug addict, which, but again, by the way, another dumb decision by OCP, or at least from Fax herself. Why put the mind of a drug addict in a machine? Why make the fuel source his addiction? that scene in the town meeting still cracks me up. Yeah, Robo Kane is just like,
Mine.
Mine.
We have to make references to other movies in this show. We have to.
We have to, yep. Oh. And yeah, also the setting where his cult hideout is. I know they're trying to. I know the writers, or at least whoever was in charge of this, or even the director himself, was trying to bring back some of the humor of the original movie, because when RoboCop goes to the lab where the nuke is being manufactured, is that he sees a picture of Mother Teresa above a picture of Jesus, and then he looks at the cat, and there's a picture of Elvis Presley, and right by that picture is a casket of Elvis Presley, wearing his costume from the stage. You know, that the white linen rhinestone one, and it's his skeleton, and his skeleton still has hair. And it looks very good.
And there's the guitar next to that casket.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, when I saw that, I giggled. I thought it was kind of funny. Let's see. I kind of ran out of steam now.
Oh, wait. I think I have something that might tie into the Elvis thing. Linda
really?
Thompson is in this movie.
Who?
Linda Thompson.
Who's Linda Thompson?
According to this little pop-up that comes up when I hover my cursor over her name, if it will stay there, she is an American songwriter and lyricist, former actress and beauty pageant winner. Perhaps she is best known as cast member of Hee Haw as one of the Hee Haw Honeys. She's a longtime girlfriend of Elvis Presley.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So that might tie into it.
And Linda Thompson, she is listed as mother with baby.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, I think there are two. I think it might have been the, not the one in the drug lab, but the one on the street that was breastfeeding a baby, if I recall correctly.
Oh.
That one.
Okay, from the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember any others, so that might be it.
Yeah. Yeah, watching through this movie, it's kind of boring, actually. It's just a little bit boring. I actually had to watch it I had to watch it a few times just in the past 24 hours. So, because I kept on getting distracted by my iPad. I was actually trying to find something more interesting than this.
Yeah, it is slow and it's kind of boring. I will admit. Peter Weller reprises his role. Nancy Allen. I think most of the returning characters reprise their role.
Yeah, Nancy Allen. I know this is kind of a trivial thing. This is kind of a trivial thing, but I did not like her hair in this movie.
I noticed that I prefer it from the original. The original, her hair was better.
Yeah, and if you kind of remember from our last our chat from the original one, apparently that it had to get gradually shortened in makeup before it was finally decided what the hairstyle was going to be, in order to non-sexualize her. And seeing her with long hair, I was like, yeah.
I think it's longer in the third one, right?
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
But I know of its infamy.
If you thought the remake was bad.
Third movie was so bad that even Peter Weller didn't return for it.
Yeah, you can tell.
Which was sad. But even Peter Weller was kind of disappointed. With the movie.
This one?
Yeah, with this one.
Oh,
with number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind. Yeah, apparently, even when trying to promote it, he kind of distanced himself away from it. I guess it just wasn't as good as the first one.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh, yeah, I had something, and then I lost it. And at only 40 minutes in, wow, that's actually a personal best. Let's see.
This movie is... It pains me.
It pains you?
Yes, and not in the ways that other films have. It pains me because it has potential.
It has potential. It does have ideas, but it just has too many. It has too many of them. Let's see, the way that it also kind of the way where it ends. The ending, it just sounds like it's setting up for like the final battle in the third movie. That after RoboCane has been decommissioned, or has been stopped. OCP still gets away scot-free because they got the money to hire the best spin team. And Nancy is going, can't believe it, they're getting away with it. And RoboCop says, patience, Lewis. We're only human. That would have been. Now that would have been a more poignant line if the idea of humanity was kept in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But with that line, it's that sounds like that's what the third movie's gonna be about. You know, taking down OCP. Does that happen?
I don't want to spoil anything, but sort of.
Okay.
Not really, kind of, ish, meh.
He's just very specific.
We're gonna have to get to that at some point.
Yes.
Maybe in November, so I'm 21, so I can drug myself with alcohol.
Yeah, that seems pretty much it. The special effects are, even for 1990s, are still good as always. Yeah, they still kind of look like stop motion dolls, but Jurassic Park hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, that's 3 years from now, so. But I like the stop motion.
So do I.
Something I have to complain about, though, they didn't really bring back Ed 209.
Yeah, he kind of makes more of a cameo appearance in the news exposition.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, his leg is caught in the manhole. His leg's caught in the manhole. He can't get out. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I got nothing else. I praise its actors. I mean, given what was written, I mean, they still did a good job.
Yeah. But it has a lot of things set up in the beginning, and it really only pursues a couple of them.
Yeah. And you know, like I said in the beginning, if they kind of just stuck with the whole, the drug craze, the cult, and the RoboCop 2, as well as kind of tie that into the whole, you know, difference between man and machine with RoboCop and how his family are living now. This would have been a very solid sequel. Heck, and given that it's Irvin Kershner, who not only directed Empire Strikes Back, but also the James Bond film Never Say Never Again, which was Sean Connery's final Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kershner could have been the guy that's known as the sequel guy, the one that makes good sequels.
Yeah, and I really don't know who to blame for this. I mean, RoboCop at this time was still a legendary film. It was very good for its time, and it's still good today. But I don't really want to blame him because he has shown what he can do, and he can do it well. But at the same time, it could just be the writing of the script. But it could also be like this, like, could have been a slip up on his directing. I mean, not all directors are perfect, and occasionally they make a film that's not that good.
Right.
But with a track record like his, I'm rather surprised, to say the least. I'm kind of disappointed. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. But what's happened has happened, and even though RoboCop 2 is not as good as the original, I wouldn't call it skippable.
No, I recommend it, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it is, it's not too bad. It certainly could be better, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for a sequel like that, not terrible, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I compare it to like the Lost World Jurassic Park, which that was a good one too, but not as great as the original, but not at all skippable.
Yeah, and although I personally hold Jurassic Park only fractionally above the Lost World, partially I think due to that, because they had the same director. Now, this movie and its predecessor did not have the same director. Do you think, in hindsight, that might have factored in a bit?
Well, actually, on IMDb, it does list that. Funny enough, RoboCop 2 actually came out the same year as Total Recall, which was directed by the original RoboCop's director, Paul Verhoeven. No, but anyway, let's see. According to IMDb, after the success of RoboCop, director Paul Verhoeven and the original screenwriters, Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner, were immediately approached for a sequel by the studio. According to Verhoeven, he didn't want to make the kind of sequel that the studio had in mind. He felt going forward so quickly with their ideas would make it feel like he was attempting to cash in on the first film, and he only wanted to do a follow-up if it was original and innovative. Neumeier and Miner had already presented a very rough outline called RoboCop Corporate Wars. In this draft, RoboCop was to be shot and pulverized to metallic dust by a cannon in the very beginning. He would be resurrected 25 years later in an even more dystopian future, where he becomes a pawn in the struggle between an all-powerful corporation, the government, and an impoverished population, and even at one point having a love interest with a neurobrain, to humanize RoboCop even more. The studio liked this idea, but the writers did not want to continue working on script due to personal interests associated with the writers' strike. Oh, now that's starting to come together. Verhoeven also did not support the project, having gone to shoot Total Recall for big money while agreeing to all conditions of the producers and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who gave the director only 3 hours for making a decision from the beginning of reading the script. Ultimately, Verhoeven felt if the studio kept patient, his idea for the sequel was far more superior. In the end, the film was shot on a new script by Frank Miller and Waylon Green, or Wallen Green, I don't know, W-A-L-O-N, I think it might be pronounced Waylon. But the plot also has lines from the original script and early drafts for the first movie that were never filmed. So it kind of sounds like it sounds once again like executive meddling.
Shame. In the rare instance it does work out, it's okay, but most of the time, from what I've seen, it does not.
It's a roulette game.
So, where do we go after this?
I really don't know.
Oh,
I guess. Oh, you got
what
something?
about that alternate sequel that's being made right now? Actually, we did touch on it way back when, but
yeah, I'm
actually
I don't know if
rather
there's
interested in that.
I don't know if there has been any news about that. Let me see.
For those of you who don't know, there is an alternate sequel to the original that was being made. I'm not sure what the status of it is presently.
This is feeling like Aliens 5.
Yeah. It's actually being made by the same director who would have made Alien 5.
Oh. Alright, Neil Blomkamp.
Yes.
He's a very niche director. I'm starting to understand. Was going to direct the 5th Alien movie, and then this new RoboCop sequel. And if you see his movies like District 9, Elysium, Aliens and Robotics.
Yes, sci-fi.com. That seems to have the latest thing from February 12th of this year. Last July,
Okay, here we go. Continue.
Last July, it was announced that Neil Blomkamp, District 9, and Chappie would helm a RoboCop sequel. Excuse me, pop-up. Titled RoboCop Returns for MGM, with the character's original creators, Ed Neumeier and Michael Miner, on board to write and produce the project. Recently speaking with Entertainment Weekly, Blomkamp talked about how he wants to strive to recreate the feeling of the 1987 original from director Paul Verhoeven, Total Recall and Starship Troopers. Quote, "If I can be honest to what Paul Verhoeven did and almost try to emulate that in a way, I feel like it does have value, and we're not doing it for the sake of just doing it, but there's something in there that may have value for the audience," he said. Of course, Blomkamp is still totally passionate about ideas that are just too wonky for mainstream Hollywood, which is why he founded the production studio Oats in 2017. He won't conform to the mold completely, but he won't pass things up that are just too juicy either. Quote, "RoboCop is really cool, but because it's something that had enough of an effect on me as a kid, and it's an environment I would like to work inside of," he said. Continuing to quote, If awesome opportunities like RoboCop present themselves where the core ideas are not mine or Oates' ideas, then that's a really good way to interact with Hollywood, and I can keep the more crazy personal ideas in the Oates realm." End quote. This will be the first RoboCop movie since the poorly received remake/reboot in 2014, which was directed by Jose Padilla and starred Joel Kinnaman, Abby Cornish, Michael Keaton, Gary Oldman, Jackie Earl Harley, and Samuel Jackson, Jay Baruchel, aka Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, and Michael Kenneth Williams. There's no set release date/window for RoboCop Returns just yet, but you won't have to hold your breath for more Blomkamp. Today, the South African filmmaker announced Conviction, a live-action prequel he directed for BioWare's upcoming Anthem video game. The short goes live on YouTube this Thursday, February 14th. And that's really it. So presently, it's just being tossed around, and he's working with the original creators, and that was from earlier this year.
I gotta say, I'm kind of ashamed of myself for not giving this guy any attention in the past, because he seems like my kind of filmmaker, one who just praises ideas, no matter how outlandish they may be. A good idea is a good idea to him. And I now want to see District 9 and Chappie and Elysium.
I have District 9. I've never finished it. Maybe we'll review that at some point in the future.
Maybe.
Here's something from April 26th, 2019 by the YY Scene. Calgary Expo guest Peter Weller denies reports he's turned down a role in the Neil Blomkamp RoboCop sequel. So he's denied reports that he's turned it down. So that means he's considering it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, here's a quote from Peter Weller on the reports that he turned it down. Quote, "That's horse shit." Peter Weller couldn't be more clear. The actor, director, professor is in Italy on a golf vacation with friends before he heads to town for the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, and we're talking about widely circulated rumors that he flat out turned down a role for the upcoming RoboCop sequel from District 9 director Neil Blomkamp. That's not true? That's not true? No. I've not turned that down. I've not been made the offer yet. He said the Blomkamp's film, which would ignore the uneven sequel, which the actor also starred in, and the third film, which he declined in, of course, the 2014 reboot. That's absolutely dead wrong. I love him. He's great. It's wrong. Weller continued. The thing with RoboCop is, I don't interviews for free on RoboCop, he says, alluding to his declining to participate in RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop. I don't talk about the movie unless somebody's willing to pay me, and I don't do anything about it unless I'm making money on it, so it's misunderstood that I won't talk about RoboCop. I'm not going to be part of anybody's documentary or anybody's on-camera video or anything like that unless it's serious parenthetical money. That's it. The Neil Blomkamp's film is great. He's got a great idea. We've talked about it, but it's not sealed yet. It's not done. So I can't say that I'm doing it until the ink's dry on paper. The conversations are ongoing right now. So there you go. Continuing the article. There is hope despite what you may have heard. It's actually part of a false narrative that emerged that Weller had attempted to distance himself from the iconic role in Paul Verhoeven's brilliant 1987 satirical sci-fi classic about a cop in future Detroit who, after being shot and near death, is turned into a robotic version of himself by a corporation that's attempting to privatize the police force. That narrative was challenged last year when the actor reprised that RoboCop role in some delightfully batty commercials for KFC, something he admits he certainly wasn't reticent to do. Not after the money was settled, no, he says simply. And then, oh my gosh!
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna need to send you this.
Okay.
Okay, just from the thumbnail on this video, there's a family of four sitting on a couch with Peter Weller in the RoboCop suit serving them KFC.
Oh god, I actually have seen the thumbnail of that. I haven't seen that commercial, but but I'm pretty sure it did irk some people.
Understandably so. Continuing the article. Of course, that role is not only part of the long and impressive career that the 71-year-old Weller has. Acting-wise, he got his start in theater before moving on to Hollywood. And there, for the past 4 decades, he's had varied roles in such remarkable films such as David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, Just Tell Me What You Want, Shoot the Moon, Mighty Aphrodite, and Star Trek Into Darkness. Those are only the first and second act of a life well led, with Weller also earning a master's degree in Roman and Renaissance art at the Syracuse University more than a decade ago before completing a PhD in Italian Renaissance art history at UCLA. And now he teaches art history at Syracuse.
I was wondering what he was a professor of.
On the Hollywood side of things, and in the non-Robo realm, he's been spending much of his time behind the camera directing, keeping his foot in the door and his name in the conversation, something that he's thankful for. Quote, "I'm very fortunate," he said. "I consider myself very fortunate with having a great family and to be working for 50 years nonstop in a business, in a craft that I fell in love with. So yeah, I consider myself very fortunate," end quote. As for the recent move to directing, all that has been in the TV realm, with Weller shooting episodes of series such as Sons of Anarchy, MacGyver, Magnum P.I., and Hawaii Five-0. It's a path, he says, that was influenced by a pretty phenomenal group of people and a number of different factors. Quote, "I realized that I was more interested in telling a story than performing it," he says, noting that growing up some of his heroes were directors. And continuing to quote, "And I was looking at guys I got to work with because Elia Kazan got me into the actor studio, and I got to work with Mike Nichols and Sidney Lumet and Woody Allen, and J.J. Abrams were just constantly inspiring me to direct. Eastwood was a friend who inspired me to direct. Billy Friedkin was another who inspired me to direct. So the guys I was bumping into were saying, 'You should direct,' made me go and direct," end quote. Yet he still keeps a foot in the door on the acting side of things, with some in those series and others such as Dexter and 24. As to what his real passion is these days, that's a list almost as diverse as his IMDb entry, and which makes him something of a Renaissance man in his own right. "Directing is my passion, career-wise, and if the gig is right, I will act in anything if it's challenging and wonderful, and what have you. So those are my passions, essentially. But aside from my passions are my family and Renaissance art and jazz."
Yeah.
Peter Weller appears at the Calgary Comics and Internet Expo Saturday and Sunday, and that was published on April 26, 2019.
Huh.
So he hasn't even
Wow.
been pitched the idea. He hasn't signed on to anything, so he won't say. But he did not turn it down. And the fact that he's praising Blow Panther, I think that's a good sign.
That's a very good sign. That's a very good sign.
And that is the most recent article I can find here on Google.
Well, so yeah. So now that we've got that out of the way, I think, well, it's nice to know that. Let's bring it back to RoboCop 2. It's nice to know that. It's nice to know that this movie wasn't so bad that it kind of killed his love for the character. And so I'm kind of guessing that the reason why he turned down to reprise his role in the third one was, well, the most common one is scheduling conflicts, but I'm thinking is because the script was just bad.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Having seen it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice to know that. It's nice to know that he still. That's a character that he still loves and to play, and actually, and he considers it a part of himself. And honestly, hearing that article about him switching to directing, all I kept on thinking was, I can relate. So yeah. I think now with that, I guess we can now move. We could probably move on to the final rating. Think so, Ian?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything else really. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but there's also nothing to talk about.
Yeah. All right. So out of 10,
I gotta say 7.
A 7. I was gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
gonna give a 6 out of 10. So it's not bad, but it doesn't hold a candle to it. It doesn't hold a candle to its predecessor. The special effects are good. Some of the commentary or satire is hilarious, but it's just and of course the acting is still on par. It's just too bogged down with so many ideas that the studio just wanted to just shoehorn in which ended up just hurting the movie more than helping it.
Yeah, I mean, with the anti-drug thing, okay, fine, go, run with that. Okay, fine, put in the RoboCane and such, RoboCop 2, put that in. Get rid of the family stuff. That, for me, that's the thing that's shoehorned in the most.
The family thing?
Yes, I mean, it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. I would like it if they expanded on it, but they did not. So it just feels shoehorned in, and it just disrupts the flow of the rest of the movie.
And I was thinking that they keep the family thing because again it would kind of tie into the whole cult thing.
Okay, yeah, I see your point.
Yes, but get rid of the whole foreclosure thing. Save that for the next one.
Okay, yeah. This is... I don't hate this movie.
I don't either.
I enjoy it, oddly enough. It's, at some points it's dumb fun, and others it's actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. But as a whole, it... Yeah. Just needs more focus.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. There's, as we've been saying repeatedly, there's a lack of focus, there's too many ideas, and it doesn't do much with them.
Mm-hmm. And I have to agree. So, alright, so I think with that, that concludes another Nerdvana podcast. Thank you everyone for making it this far. Join us next time. For the summer, we are going to be reviewing something, but here's the list. It's Superman, the original one, Spider-Man from 2002, and The Dark Knight. We have yet to decide which one we're gonna review first.
We're going to review all of those at some point in the summer, and in a way, John, we're going back to your roots.
How so?
You started your channel off doing a lot of superhero movies. Marvel Summer ring a bell, anyone?
Martin? Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I did. I did looking back on that. Well, I did. A lot of the movies that I owned at the time were superhero movies.
Yes, and I think your first review ever, if I recall correctly, was Ghost Rider.
No, actually, my first review was the Doctor Who TV movie that I had to remove because BBC blocked it.
What?
Copyright.
Did you do something wrong?
It was my first ever video. I didn't know much about editing. So some clips were too long. Some clips were too long for the BBC's liking.
Oh, BBC, you're a fabulous news network, but I don't know much about, fair use in England.
Yeah, trust me, I had to actually do some research, and oh my god, I still remember the headaches about fair use. But yeah, no,
superhero summer, everyone.
Yeah, superhero summer.
I'm gonna need to make a new intro.
Yeah, you get to work on that.
Okay.
But until then, I'm John Murphy.
And I'm Ian Benoit.
Signing off.
See you next month, guys.